If you're looking to get into fixed blade knives, but you're not sure where to start, this video is for you, where we're going to take a look at the best starter fixed blades you can buy to kickstart your collection. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the KnifeCenter, and today's video was inspired by a reader question from the comments below these videos. John Hughes asks, hello DCA and KnifeCenter. I've been collecting folding knives for a while now, and I finally figured out the criteria I look for in folding knives, which is a long, expensive process. Now I'm wanting to start fixed blade collecting. Do you have any go-to recommendations for beginner fixed blades to start collecting? And what type of steel to look for, stainless versus carbon, etc. Thanks. This is an awesome topic. Now, I'm less concerned about what type of steel specifically you should be looking for, but I'm going to show you some stainless and carbon options here, just coincidentally. The bigger question is, how do we sample everything that the fixed blade world has to offer without breaking the bank? Here's what I've got for you. I think the first fixed blade that anyone should buy, no matter what you're looking to do, is a Morakniv Companion, or the Mora Companion. And we have a saying here at the KnifeCenter that Mora stands for Mora over really anything, because they are so inexpensive, yet they punch way above their price point in terms of quality and performance, and they can really be adaptable to just about any scenario. But we're going to talk specifically about camping. That's when a lot of people buy their first fixed blade. They're thinking about going camping. They think, I need a camping knife or I need a survival knife. The Mora Companion is a great place to start. They start at about $17 on the site, which is incredible. You can get them in a stainless steel or a carbon steel blade. It's about 2 or 2.5 millimeters thick. I can't remember precisely, but it's a thin enough blade combined with this Scandi grind here that works great carving wood. It's a slightly unconventional grind if you're used to most modern folding knives, but it works great at carving wood, and the blade is thin enough here that it's still adaptable to a wide range of camping, hunting, outdoor tasks, what have you. Just works really well. You can get a heavy duty version, the HD Companion, that's a little bit thicker, a little bit burlier, but this version is a great place to start. The stainless blades are 12C27 Sandvik steel, a nice Swedish stainless steel. This is a Swedish made knife after all. And the carbon steel is a 1095 equivalent. Both plenty tough, both gonna work great in the outdoors. And you've got a very ergonomic rubber overmolded handle over the partial tang. Don't let that partial tang fool you, however. This is a very robust knife and time proven to be able to take a beating. The sheath is simple and efficient. It is narrow on the belt, easy on and off when you want it to, thanks to that J-hook style clip on the back and a drain hole at the bottom to let moisture escape. You could do a lot worse for your first fixed blade. Now, if you like the idea of a more robust tang construction on your outdoor fixed blade, check out this, the Schrade 169 OTH Old Timer Fixed Blade. This is coming in about 50 bucks, and that's gonna be the top of our budget here on these starter fixed blade items. Everything else is gonna come underneath this, except for one. We'll get to that in just a minute. The cool thing about this knife is it has classic old school styling, but it still feels modern in a way. It bridges the gap between those two quite nicely. And it's sort of a bridge between a few different genres, such as outdoor survival knives and hunting knives and just general purpose camping knives. We've got a 5-inch blade here, D2 steel, so you've got a lot of edge retention. Not as tough as the carbon or stainless steels in the Mora we just talked about, but you do have a good amount of strength in this given its size, even with that steel selection. The edge is going to last a real long time for this price range with that D2 right there. And the geometry is good for all around general purpose slicing as well. We've got laminated wood for the handle inlays here. That's going to be nice and stable over the long term, much more stable than a natural wood and unstabilized wood would be. And a full tang for that extra strength. Plenty of grip on there, bit of a finger guard there to keep your hands from slipping forward. Gives it a good all-around general purpose vibes, and even comes with a classic leather sheath right here. Simple styling, but it works great. And this is certainly going to look great whether you pull it out to use it, skinning out some game, cutting up food at a campfire, or even splitting some wood or whittling with it. It's going to work quite well. And what if you want just a big slab of down and dirty survival knife cold steel is where you're gonna look. Cold steel is actually well represented on this list because they do a lot of great affordable fixed blades. This is the Bushman. There are 2 blade shapes in this series. This is the 7-inch straight back bladed version. $18 for this single piece knife. And it's very adaptable, not just as a standard fixed blade knife here that's gonna work for bigger outdoor cuts, butchering, long wood carving. Even though it's thinner, you could still split wood with this. And the wraparound handle here, which is folded from the blade material itself, can even be used as an impromptu spear. There's even a spot there to drive a wedge or a screw into the haft to make sure it stays put. Really, really cool knives, and $18 as well for this. Injection molded sheath is on board with this as well. Kind of similar to the Mora sheath, actually, just sized up. You've even got included here on the side a fire steel, so you can strike it and start a fire when you head outdoors with this blade. The advantage of any of these knives in an outdoor or survival quote-unquote scenario over a folder is simple. There's fewer parts to go wrong, and that can mean the difference between life and death, quite honestly, if things do get hairy. Speaking of which, there's another area where that same ethos can apply, and that's self-defense fixed blades. And some people look for that. I've got 2 options to show you right here, a good entree into the subject. Another cold steel, this is the double agent karambit. And there are 2 blade shapes actually. This is the hawkbill shaped blade, the more traditional shaped blade. But you can also get a clip point if you'd rather go with something a little more adaptable to everyday use. But the hawkbill right here, available with or without serrations, is phenomenal for really hooking in and creating a lot of cutting force where you need it. These come in about 36 bucks. Steel is AUS 8, which is a very fine choice in this price range. And unlike most karambits where you have a single ring here at the back for your index finger, you've got a double ring here for your pinky for extra retention of that blade in the standard reverse grip right here, or inverted grip, I should say. You can also use it in the forward grip. That's less the tactical use of it, but you might be able to use it more for general purpose sort of stuff. The sheath is simple. It is called Securex, the material. It is injection molded. It doesn't come with any belt attachment hardware, but it does come with a breakaway ball chain that allows you to carry it around your neck. We'll get into neck knives specifically in a minute, or secure the chain to your belt and drop the knife in the pocket. We'll get to pocket fixed blades shortly as well. But those are both going to allow you to keep this nice and flat and easily concealed on your person for when you need it most. The next great self-defense fixed blade we should talk about is the TDI Law Enforcement knife from K-Bar, designed by John Benner. This is actually coming in at $51.03 at this point in time, so that's above the $50 mark too, but only just, sorry about that. This is a very intuitive blade to wield in a self-defense scenario because of its dramatically angled blade, as you can see. The handles themselves are injection molded and are designed to lock in to your grip quite easily while that blade points forward, meaning it's easy to very intuitively kind of point where you need the blade to go and it will go there. Kind of like a push dagger, which I don't have any specific examples of that on the table, but it operates along similar properties as that. Now, if you're unfamiliar with John Benner, the designer of this knife, he's the founder of the Tactical Defense Institute, the TDI, and is responsible for a lot of law enforcement training, including training on knife wielding and that sort of thing. Truly an expert in the craft, and it really comes through in his design ethos here. It is also, I think, a rather usable blade every day. It's not just constrained to self-defense uses. You've got an AUS 8 drop point blade. The length of it is a little bit over 2.5 inches. That's a very useful knife for opening boxes, packaging, that sort of thing, and just any other little day-to-day cuts you might need to execute. The sheath is injection molded. You're gonna see a lot of that at this price range, and it comes with the TDI belt clip right here. And you can use that myriad ways. You can use it on your belt, as we talked about. There are measures in place to keep it from sliding or slipping off inadvertently. This is also great for inside the waistband as well, putting it right where you need it and easily concealed, and can even be carried in the pocket using that clip. You are gonna have a lot of knife sticking out of the pocket, but it is possible. And that brings me to the next genre you ought to look at, or one could look at, and that's the everyday carryable or EDC focused fixed blades. They're not trying to be big survival knives or big self-defense knives or anything else. They're just aiming to be that knife you have with you for daily, mostly mundane tasks. They're gonna get the job done. And pocket carried fixed blades are very popular right now. There's a couple of affordable options out there. Not as many as I might like to see, quite honestly, but there are a few. The first is the SOG Instinct Mini. There are two sizes of this actually. The standard version, 2.3-inch blade, $45. This version with a just under 2-inch blade for about $40. And again, unlike a folder, no moving parts, no lock to potentially fail. This is about reliability. The steel could be better, honestly, for this knife. We're dealing with a 5CR stainless, so it's not gonna hold an edge all that long. It's decently tough, but this is more, again, if you're starting out and you wanna try out a pocket fixed blade, this is one of the few kind of general purpose options under that $50 price point right now. And it is a pocket fixed blade because check out this sheath right here with that clip. Going to fit very nicely in the pocket. You've got, 3 fingers worth of grip sticking out to grab onto. So it's not the most discreet pocket fixed blade, but it's easy to access and easy to use and makes a lot of little cuts quite easy day to day. The other one you could look at that I have on the table today is the CRKT Razel Compact. This comes in about $47 with a 2.3-inch blade, and you've got D2 tool steel here. So again, very good edge retention for this price bracket. You've got a cleaver-shaped blade with a standard edge, and the Razel series from CRKT has a sharpened leading edge as well. So even though this is not a chisel grind on the knife, you could use it for kind of chisel-y scraping tasks when you need to. And then you've even got some partial serrations here at the back. So you've got 3 different ways of cutting with this one knife. The finish is also quite nice. We've got contrasting grain and black stone-washed finishes on the blade. The handles themselves are black G10, and it's a 3-finger grip for me, but you can get 4 fingers of grip thanks to the paracord fob here at the back. That gives your pinky something to hold onto, a little extra security from it slipping forward. Also allows you to choke back on the knife and kind of pinch midway down the handle, and your other fingers can grab on to that fob. It makes those grips more secure as well. The injection molded sheath here is a bit broader than some, but it comes with a very convenient pocket clip right there. Again, great pocket fixed blade, not as much sticking out of the top as the SOG, so it's a little more discreet, although not particularly discreet, but a lot of strength and reliability for that amount of real estate in your pocket. Now, before the pocket fixed blade trend has started to rise, the way a lot of folks might have everyday carried a fixed blade previously was as a neck carry or a neck knife. And we're seeing a lot of neck knife designs out there that have kind of maybe transitioned to pocket carry. And a lot of these neck knife sheaths can actually be retrofitted for pocket carry if you just buy something like an Ulti-Clip. And this is one of those knives where that will work. Coming in at $40, this is the Artisan Cutlery Sea Snake. You've got a very acute Wharncliffe blade, about 3 1/8 of an inch long, and G10 handles with not a complex sculpting, but a very comfortable sculpting on it. 3.5 fingers in the standard grip section, large finger choil here at the front if you wanted to choke up for finer control. That's gonna work great. The steel is RPM 9, which is a spray form steel. It's sort of an intermediate step between traditionally made steels and high performance powder metallurgy steels. Bridges the gap a little bit. So it's a pretty cool technology. And the spray form steel here is based on 9CR series stainless, which is going to give you decent edge retention and even more toughness than standard 9CR thanks to the spray form technology. The sheath itself is Kydex here. So the value here is actually really nice. You've got the spray form steel, G10, real Kydex, all coming in at $40. And if you don't want to neck carry it, as I said, throw an Ulti-Clip on these holes right here, and you can easily make that a pocket or inside the waistband carry. But with that Wharncliffe shape there, it is a great utilitarian type of blade. Fantastic, especially I think for opening packages and breaking down cardboard for a lot of day-to-day use. That comes in really, really nice. Another kind of long-running neck knife series, which I think is deserving of attention still, is the Minimalist series from CRKT. This right here is the latest, at least at the point we're filming this video, was released in 2025. This is the Nessmuck bladed version of it. These are coming in at $40 for this particular version, although prices vary depending on which blade shape you get, and there are a bunch of blade shapes to choose from. I would recommend at least sticking with one of the ones that is made with either D2 steel or 8CR series stainless. Some of the earlier versions were using 5CR, and it's still serviceable, but it's nice to have one of the slightly more upgraded versions. There are more premium versions available too, but then the price is going to go up as well. But this one right here, 3-inch blade, or just under 3-inch blade, D2 steel for the edge retention, $40 as mentioned. Stonewashed finish on this, which is nice. Scratches tend to sort of blend in as you use the knife, which is a nice thing. A little bit of recurve and plenty of belly. A lot of cutting edge is provided as a result within that 3-inch constraint right there. And the signature element of the Minimalist series are these very prominent finger grooves. They pull a trick of, unless you have really, really fat fingers, even, slightly larger than average fingers like my own will fit in those finger grooves quite nicely. And then the 4th finger grip is provided by the lanyard yet again. Sheath is injection molded with standard carry options here with a neck setup with the paracord. Actually comes with a belt loop as well if you'd rather carry it on the belt. And this blade shape right here is versatile for everyday carry. It can cover a broad range of things, but its heritage, the heritage of the Nessmuck style specifically, lies in hunting, which is a good way to transition to some starter hunting fixed blades. That's another thing where, if you're skinning out an animal or doing any sort of field dressings, a folder can really get gummed up fast and dirty from the fluids of the animal that you happen to be cleaning. Chance for infection to blossom, to say nothing of impacted performance of the pivot. You don't have to worry about that with a fixed blade. Check this out first. Another cold steel. This is the Pendleton Lite Hunter. $18 for this very capable design. Blade itself is about 3 5/8 of an inch long with a little bit of hump to its drop point profile. Great sweeping slicer of a shape. Steel is 4116. Not a high performance steel in terms of edge retention, but it's a very tough steel. You see this used a lot in kitchen knives due to its durability, which can be a very good thing on a knife that's going to be impacting bone potentially. You don't want it to chip. Handle is injection molded, again over a partial tang, but it is quite comfortable and sized pretty nicely. Super large hands might have a little bit of an issue with the grip, but it's pretty easy to just kind of rotate or pinch with it, or even choke up, since you're going to be using potentially this type of grip in a hunting scenario anyway. But a very streamlined design and a very Mora-like sheath on it as well. Slim on the belt, nice easy clip on the back, and your drain hole to let moisture escape, because you don't want it sitting on the blade now, do you? On top of the hunting applications of this knife, this is something that just works well across a broad spectrum. This would be a perfectly fine and perfectly very good, quite honestly, better than fine, basic camping knife. Is even something I sort of consider an alternative to the Mora. If the Scandi grind on that Mora doesn't sound like something you want to mess with, if you'd rather have a more conventional geometry, this Pendleton Lite is a fantastic option. Now, another name synonymous with fixed blade hunting knives is Buck Knives, and there are some USA-made Buck fixed blades in this price bracket that is going to work well in a hunting scenario, The BuckLite series is where you want to look. This is the Max 2, coming in at about $36 for the gut hook version. You could save a little money and go with the standard drop point version without that gut hook. That's going to be a few bucks less, and there's even a smaller, maybe kid-sized version that is even less expensive. The blade here is 4 inches long, and it's made with 420HC stainless steel, a high carbon and pretty decently tough steel as well. Injection molded handles on this knife, plenty of traction with a rubberized grip. They really don't want you to lose your grip on this knife, especially when you're up inside something getting dirty. Last thing you want to do is have that edge leave your hand and you don't know where it is. Don't want to grab onto that, do you? But the ergos feel nice and solid. If you go with the drop point version specifically, I would say it is another good, just general purpose camping knife beyond just the hunting uses. So you could certainly do that with the gut hook version as well, but I think the drop point, standard drop point might be a little more kind of conducive to that type of usage. But it's not quite as neutral as the Pendleton Lite is if we're getting into the weeds. little bit more versatile grip options with that knife, if that's the sort of usage you're looking for. But as a dedicated hunter, definitely the BuckLite MAX series. Sheath. Oh, almost forgot the sheath. Here you go. Simple nylon with a retention strap or retention snap on the front. All right, let's end the video with some bigger knives. We haven't talked specifically about combat knives yet. That is a genre, again, that you don't really see in the folding knife realm. Tactical knives, yes, but like combat style knives, things that are designed to live on the front lines of battlefields, we can get you something in the ballpark at least on the affordable side with some fixed blades. Now, unfortunately, Ontario's Spec Plus series is no longer produced. That would have been a great option for a stereotypical combat knife. So in lieu of that, we have got the Cold Steel SRK, the Survival Rescue Knife. Some of these versions come in as little as 40 bucks on our site right now. You've got a 6-inch blade, so it's just an inch shorter than that classic K-bar, the Mark II fighter. And we've got SK5 carbon steel. It's nice and tough. You've got a thick spine for toughness magnified, and a hollow grind here for a very thin edge, so you can still cut pretty efficiently with it. And a full-length tang underneath an injection molded handle right here. This is a versatile knife. It's not just suited to combat roles, I would say. This is a good quote-unquote survival knife. This is a good general purpose outdoor knife if you want something with a longer blade like this. They also make the SRK-C, the compact, with a 5-inch blade. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit slicier, and I think even more versatile, quite honestly. But the SRK here is hard to argue with. It's a great touchstone of affordable performance. It comes with a Secure-X sheath here. You've got a retention strap on the standard belt loop there, and you've got options for aftermarket attachment for the sheath, making it as something that you could grow with over time and really, really put a beating on, and it's not going to let you down. Speaking of something that can take a beating, this knife is even less expensive than the SRK. It is the GI Tanto. You've got a 7-inch blade here, so it's full quote-unquote combat length. The steel here is 1055 carbon, so it's not something that's going to hold an edge as long as some other steels on the market, but what it does really well is being incredibly tough. This is something that you could thrash on, you could abuse, you could treat very poorly. You could treat it like it's not a knife, and it will often survive to see the next day. I've seen it happen. I've seen these things thrashed way more than they had any right to be, and they still keep on going. Tanto style blade, we're hollow ground here to, again, bring the thickness behind the edge a little bit down, but you've got enough strength with that 1055 here for a lot of abusability. Injection molded bolt-on handles, nice neutral shape, so a lot of hand sizes will work well. And unlike the SRK, you've got a true double guard here, again, leaning it more into that combat role. And this forward finger area is not so much for choking up for finer control, although it allows that a little bit. This is classic Bowie knife style design influence right here. If this gets wedged in a target and you're having trouble getting it out, you can loop your finger above that guard for more extraction power when you go to pull. Sheath, just like the SRK, injection molded, attachment options galore thanks to the holes and slots, and standard loop with retention strap for your belt. And did I mention? I may have already, but if not, 28 bucks for this very tough knife. And last but not least, what is one more thing that a folding knife is simply not going to do for you? You're never going to be able to really chop with a folder. So we need an affordable chopping knife on the table, the Camp 10 from Kershaw. And this comes in at 57 bucks. But if you were to cut this in half, it'd be as long as some of these other knives. So the inch to dollar ratio here is still very, very good. You've got a 10-inch blade, 65 MN carbon steel, a very tough non-stainless steel coated there to help the corrosion demons, however. The features on this knife, I love everything about it for a starter chopping fixed blade. It's got a somewhat kukri-esque style of shape to it, meaning you've got more weight here out towards the front and more power when you hit it with one of those nice strong snap cuts. Great for delimbing trees. Could work in delimbing critters as well if you use this in lieu of like a hunting hatchet or something like that. But it's a great all-around brush clearing and campfire preparing tool. You've got a very ergonomic handle here. Check out that very excellent looking shape. Locked in grip thanks to the diamond-like texture, or the diamond tread-like texture baked into it. Can raise a hot spot if you're chopping a long time with it though, so I would wear gloves when you're doing with it. And the other thing I really like, especially for folks getting started with bigger fixed blades, safety first. You've got a forward lanyard hole here, which means the loop will come out here towards the back, and you can put your hand down through the loop and hold onto the knife this way. This is kind of the safest lanyard method that I've ever personally used, because when you drop, if you happen to drop the knife, if it slips out of your grasp as you're hitting with it, it kind of just sits where it is. It's not likely to go spinning around on you and catch yourself or catch someone else unawares. Safety first. If you're inexperienced with big blades, no worries. Good thing there to know what you're doing. And I've been chopping with big fixed blades a long time. I still like to use the forward lanyard because safety first. Oh, sheath. Forgot to mention, it's really nice. It works well, lefty or righty. You can reverse this hardware around to carry it either way. The strap is kind of interesting, so I'll show you that real quick as I fumble it here. It actually loops around the back and snaps right there, securing both of the guarded sections of the blade. Really, really nicely thought out package. And honestly, at 57 bucks, it's kind of a steal. So get it before they wise up and raise the price. But anyway, for anyone looking to kickstart a fixed blade knife collection or obsession, this is a good way to experience a lot without spending too much money. Let me know what you thought. If you have any other suggestions for folks looking to get into the fixed blade hobby, leave them in the comments. And if you want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're over there, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program either, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of these knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.